What? Testing.
There you go.
It's fading out. You want me to shout loudly?
Yeah, come on.
What a great day. An absolutely beautiful day for this auspicious event.
That's what he needed all the time. Then we gotta do it. We gotta get it.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the town of Indian Shores, a great place to live. I'm Jim Lawrence, town council member since 1998 and mayor for the past 7.5 years. On behalf of the town council and town staff, it's our honor to host this campaign kickoff for one of our own, David Jolly, to fill our District 13 seat in the House of Representatives. Indian Shores is a small town, only 1,400 permanent census residents, 2.6 miles long, and about a pitching wedge shot wide. Down there where it's wide, it's a Tiger Woods pitching wedge. Up there at the Narrows, it's a Jim Lawrence pitching wedge. Like most municipalities, only about 5% of the residents find and make the time to actively participate on town committees and town boards, volunteer to help at town events, and join us in social activities. David Jolly is among that 5%, despite a very, very busy and active Washington, D.C. law practice. Before we hear from David, 3 people who are very close to him professionally and personally have asked to speak on his behalf. I'd like to extend an Indian Shores welcome to Mr. Bill Burke, Clearwater businessman, Mr. Mark Lunsford, child activist and prime proponent of the Florida Jessica Lunsford Act passed in 2005, and Indian Shores resident friend, Mrs. Beverly Young, Congressman Young's wife for 28 years before his passing. First to speak is Mr. Bill Burke, local leader in the aerospace industry, resident of Pinellas County, who lives in Pinellas Park. Bill?
Well, I'd like to thank you, Mr. Mayor, my fellow colleagues, and of course the press. I first would like to take this opportunity to extend my sincere and deepest condolences to Mrs. Young and the Young family, whose service to the district's residents, businesses, and more importantly, service men and women goes beyond politics. The family's dedication is obviously the result of personal convictions, to which I have enormous respect and gratitude. In regard to today's press conference, it is not only my pleasure, but my sincere honor to personally be supporting David Jolly's launch towards Pinellas County congressional bid, where I not only reside, but work in a largely present aerospace and defense industry. It's a deep-rooted industry, providing thousands of jobs and economic stimulus to the area. The result, which can be largely attributed to David's tireless advocacy, support, and advisement to the late Congressman Young. David's unique ability to bring together industry, both large and small, strengthens the products we provide to the warfighter, while in turn strengthening our community and the nation. One of the many legacies the late Congressman Young afforded was the Florida Federal Contracts Association, the FFCA. This is a nonprofit business league and economic development association whose charter is committed to advancing and promoting regional federal contracting capabilities. It was through this organization that I had the pleasure to meet David Jolly over 5 years ago, where he held an executive directorship and, to this day, still provides a stellar leadership presence. In this capacity, I have personally witnessed David's relentless focus in supporting the industry without regard to size or demographic. And I know he will provide the same unwavering commitment to Pinellas County, and there is no one more qualified to represent us in Washington, D.C. To conclude, David Jolly not only personifies the late Congressman Young's political philosophies, he also makes it his conviction, his personal conviction. And in that regard, I wholeheartedly support his candidacy and ask that we continue the legacy. Thank you.
Mark Lunsford is renowned in Florida and throughout the country for his efforts to support child welfare and legislation mandating sentencing for molestation of a person under the age of 12 as a life felony and a mandatory minimum sentence of 25 years in prison and lifetime electronic monitoring. Jessica's Law is the name used by the media to designate all legislation and potential legislation in other states modeled after the Florida law. 42 states have introduced such legislation since Florida's law passed in 2005. It's an honor to introduce Mark Lunsford.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. It's an honor to be here to ask people to give their support to David Jolly because of the kind of man that I know he is. It's very emotional to me because of the advocacy that I got into and how hard it was and how difficult it was to figure out how to get things done in Florida and in 45 other states. There's 3 more that you didn't know about. It was hard to learn how to do these things. And meeting someone like David made everything, I'm not going to say easier, but made it more reachable, more possible. But David did these things because he believed in what I wanted to do. He believed in the things that I had seen and that I had felt that children had to go through. And he understood that my goals were to try to stop these things from happening. But how was I going to do that? I'm a truck driver. I had a 10th grade education. And in 8 years, with David's teaching and his knowledge and his giving me strength to continue what I'm doing, 8 years later, 45 states have justice law. But the key part was the difficult task that I had to do in Washington with the Adam Walsh Act. And you know, there's so many people that you can go talk to, but it's important to talk to the right people and to know how to talk to them and know how to request their help. And David gave me that confidence. And David helped me find these people, the key people to getting things done. And all I can do is to ask people to please support David Jolly. He's a good man, but not only that, he's been a good friend. And he's been there when I needed him, when everybody else would turn their back. Because no matter what, my advocacy never stopped. Protecting children never went away. And David made it possible for good things to happen that will last a lifetime for our children. So please support David Jolly. Thank you.
Shortly after I moved to Indian Shores some 20 years ago, after a 24-year career as an Air Force officer and pilot, I was privileged to meet both Bill and Beverly Young at a town function honoring veterans. The Congressman of Beverly will be forever remembered for the myriad of wonderful things they did for and brought to this country. However, as a Vietnam and Gulf War veteran, what I honor and appreciate most is the support and assistance the Congressman of Beverly gave to our people in uniform, particularly their efforts to support, console, and assist our returning wounded veterans. Mrs. Young, thank you for your service to our country.
Try not to cry. 2 days before my husband passed away, it wasn't expected, and some things went wrong, and he called a meeting in the hospital of his staff, and my son Patrick and I and David, and the first thing he said to David was, "David, before I even say anything, I want to apologize to you." And David looked at him and laughed and said, "For what, sir?" And he said, "Because I'm going to ask you to try to fill my seat." David kind of looked at him, and Bill said, "I have a legacy, and I have a lot of things that are left unfinished. And I need somebody who knows me, who knows how I feel, who knows my passion, and who knows how to get it done." And he said, I know it's hard, but I really need you to do it, David. And I need you to continue what Beverly and I have done for the troops, because this world is not getting any easier. David has been with Bill for 20 years. He works with me with the troops all the time. He works with Bill all the time. And this was Bill's choice. I didn't even give it a thought, but Bill Young was always thinking ahead, and he thought ahead. He told David that the only way he was coming back to his district was on the wings of an angel. And that's how he came home. So he asked David to fight the fight for him and carry on what he does and carry on what I do with the troops. But the important thing that people in Pinellas County need to understand is this election is not a game. There are people in this election making it a game. They're bringing people from out of state, out of everywhere, because they want the job. Bill Young wasn't a job, it was people. Bill Young took care of the people. And everybody running for this job have no idea what the people in Pinellas County need, what they don't have, what they're getting, what they're not getting. Somebody in Pinellas County has only spent their life in Pinellas County, has no idea what is waiting for them in Washington. And a new member will go to the bottom of the totem pole. They won't have any contacts. They won't know who to contact. They won't know where to go. David has worked with the Appropriations Committee for 15 years. That's the funding committee. That's the funding committee that funds everything that this country needs. David knows them. He was one of the staffers there. They respect him. He knows what he's doing. This is not a game that is being played to get Bill Young's seat. They've wanted it for 50 years. What do they want it for? What do you want it for? What Bill Young wants is for somebody to carry on his legacy. David can do that. David has done it. David has worked with us. We've all worked together, and we want to continue. We want to continue Bill's legacy. And I'm just really upset at how many people have come out wanting Bill's job, and how many people have dropped out of the race because somebody with more money is in. Pinellas County is not about money. We are simple people. We are friendly people. We are kind people. It isn't about money. Bringing money into Pinellas County, that's great if they want to leave it behind when they go, but they're not going to. So, Bill, this was Bill's wish. This is my wish, and this is my wish for every man and woman that puts on the uniform of the United States of America and is willing to go out and die for us. It's my wish that somebody will protect them, because there aren't a lot of people protecting them. Bill Young protected them. I protected them. I can pretty much see that the people coming in have never even come to a hospital and seen one of these kids. They don't know what they're doing. David and I go there still 3-4 days a week on our own time with our own money, even with Bill's situation. So support David. And if we do it like in the fashion of Bill Young, it's a people-to-people race. Go out, touch the people. Talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends, and let's keep David from being forced into the Washington people, and let David run a race like Bill Young ran. So good luck, David.
I first met David Jolly in the early 2000s, a couple of years after I joined the town council. He stopped by town hall to say hello, offer any liaison help he could with Congressman Young's office, as he was then the advisor and then later senior advisor of general counsel. On several occasions, he did provide that assistance, and he also became a regular visitor to town hall, attended several social functions and town events over the next several years. In 2008, David volunteered to serve on our Public Services Committee, which he did from 2008 to 2011. When we lost a member of our Board of Adjustments and Appeals in 2009, I again invited David, asking his assistance as a member of that board. He served there since and currently sits as chairperson of the Board of Adjustment and Appeals. David has been a resident and a friend to Indian Shores for many years. I'm proud to call him my personal friend. It is with great enthusiasm that I can endorse David Jolly in his campaign to represent our community in Washington. Friends, let's have a warm welcome for Mr. David Jolly.
A lot of people that have spoken today that I owe gratitude to. Before I do that, though, I want to make one thing very clear in this race. This race is about Pinellas County. And this race is about ensuring that somebody from Pinellas County is elected to represent our communities and our neighbors. This is a Pinellas County race. And therefore, today, as a Pinellas County resident, I am humbled and I am proud to announce my candidacy for Florida's District 13. I do want to thank the mayor. He is a friend. He is my mayor. Mayor Lawrence, thank you for allowing us to disrupt the town's operations this afternoon. To Bill Burke, somebody that I have served with in industry here locally, I know his commitment to jobs. We share that commitment. It's a pleasure and an honor for me to have you here as well. And what can I say about my buddy Mark Lunsford? 5 or 6 years ago, Mark walked into my life and asked for my assistance, doing some pretty special things for pretty special people. And he changed my life. And Mark, I dearly love you for that. Thank you for being here today. And then to Mrs. Young, and to Patrick, and to the Young family. I recognize we all know Mr. Young's legacy. We all know Mr. Young's legacy, but for Beverly, for Patrick, for the Young family, it's personal. And when the Young family steps forward and offers their endorsement, when Beverly Young steps forward on behalf of Bill Young and offers her support, Beverly, win or lose, this is one of the highest honors of my life, and I appreciate that, and I love you for it. But I will also say this is not win or lose. We're going to win this race. And we're going to win this race for the same principle that I opened with, which is because this is a Pinellas County race, and we are going to elect someone from Pinellas County to represent our friends and neighbors. We are going to do that. We're going to win this race. Shortly after I turned 18, I registered to vote like so many others do, and I registered as a Republican. I registered as a Republican because I saw in the Republican Party a belief in the human spirit, support for human ambition, a belief in individual freedom, and not individual mandates. I saw a party that recognized that fiscal issues, how we tax, how we spend, are freedom issues. How the government treats our hard-earned dollars, how they spend it, ultimately affect our freedoms every day. And I saw a party that had a deep belief in equality of opportunity. And I want to tell you why that part is important to me, the equality of opportunity. You are going to hear a lot in this race. You're going to hear a lot from people who think I shouldn't be the one that's elected. So I want to set the record straight on a few things. I do not come from means. I come from a very loving family. I come from a very loving family with a grandfather that worked construction here in Pinellas County for the old J.B. Hunt Construction Company. He had 3 daughters that went through Clearwater High School. One of those daughters, my mother, graduated and fell in love with a young man just out of seminary. And based on that equality of opportunity, they struck out on a path of their own. They went off on the mission field with nothing more than the love of their family, a faith in their God, and the sacrifice and support of their parents. They came back here to Clearwater. And when they did that, my father took a position as a minister at Calvary Baptist Church. I was born in Dunedin. When I graduated from college, I had never been north of Tennessee. But when I graduated from college, I had a love in my heart for public policy and public service, and it was something I wanted to do. So I struck out on my own, and I went to Washington, D.C. And just as my parents had done before me, I did that with nothing but the love of my family, the faith in my God, and the sacrifice and support of my parents. That is why I'm a Republican, because I believe that we are the greatest nation on earth, and it allows each and every one of us the equality of opportunity to do exactly what we need to do. But I also know this. Just because I registered as a Republican does not mean that I need to subscribe to the notion that Democrats are always wrong or independents are always wrong. That is a Washington-based notion. That is not a Pinellas County notion.
That's right.
We owe it to ourselves. We owe it to ourselves to get past that. We lost sight of the fact that Republicans and Democrats and independents can all work together. That we can all come together and put our nation first, put our community first, put Pinellas County first. We all bring differing core convictions. But that does not mean that we are not able to sit down at the table, discuss those core convictions, find areas where we can agree, and in those areas where we disagree, decide that we can still overcome those, work together as a community and as a people. Despite disagreements, we all owe it to ourselves, to our community, and in particular our elected officials owe it, to conduct ourselves with honesty, with integrity, with cooperation, with respect, and with the attitude of putting people first. That is who Congressman Bill Young was. That is the representative that Bill Young was. That is the Republican that Bill Young was, and I am proud today to call myself a Bill Young Republican. Our nation is in trouble. We know that. We see the problems every day. We hear of all the problems from our elected officials. We hear of them from 24-hour news. And yet, the solutions for this administration and for some in Congress seem just out of reach. It's not that difficult. We know the problems. It's a matter of coming together, Republicans, Democrats, independents alike, and finding solutions. When this president first took office, the national debt, meaning 220 years of cumulative spending, had resulted in $10 trillion in debt. In 220 years since the founding of our republic, we had built up $10 trillion in debt. When this president leaves office, that number will likely be $20 trillion in 8 years, having doubled what it took 220 years of debt for our nation to accumulate. In our lifetime, mandatory government spending will consume every dollar that the Treasury takes in, leaving nothing for the basic functions of government. If we allow this to happen, it leaves nothing other than debt spending to afford the opportunity to provide for our defense, for our national security, for our men and women in uniform, to provide for the environment, for the re-nourishing of our beaches, to provide for higher education. If we do not rein in mandatory spending, we will be broke. And let me tell you this, the greatest threat to our national security as a country is not a young man on a plane who tries to blow his shoe up. The greatest threat to our national security is irresponsible governance in Washington that lets our country fall off a fiscal cliff and destroy our nation from the inside. District 13 also faces another challenge. We are replacing one of the most senior members of Congress, the most senior Republican. We are replacing a statesman with 53 years of community service and 43 years in the House of Representatives. If a candidate in this race suggests that they can step in and change Washington, they're either being disingenuous or they don't understand the job they're stepping into. The next member of Congress from this district will be number 435 out of 435. The effectiveness of that member will rely solely on their qualifications and their ability to get things done in Washington. I had the good fortune of a remarkable life opportunity, and that was an opportunity to work alongside our late Congressman Bill Young, to learn from him, to be there as he showed us a steady hand of governance, as he represented the people of Pinellas County, but as he represented the nation with integrity. I was there alongside him as he identified ways to invest in Bay Pines, to provide for our veterans, to provide for their families. As he identified ways to invest in transportation and infrastructure. As he identified ways to invest in higher education in St. Petersburg. As he identified ways to invest in community organizations here in Pinellas that provide for our most needy. And I was with him as he found ways to invest in our defense industry here at home, to shore up the economic base of Pinellas County, and to demonstrate that a member of Congress can provide for our men and women in uniform, can give them the tools and technology they need, can provide them the health care they need, while at the same time investing in jobs here at home for both the skilled and unskilled labor force. That is what I've learned from working with Bill Young, and that is a legacy that I will be able to continue. That is why I believe I am the person that on day one can step into this job like no other candidate in this race. I will conclude with saying to everyone here, you're here because friends and supporters. I appreciate that. And I want to tell you something, I want to make a pledge to you. We are going to win this race. But we are going to win this race the right way. We're going to win this race on substance. We're going to win this race based on the qualifications of the candidates that stand before the people in Pinellas County and ask for their support and ask for their vote. That is how we are going to win this race. And we are going to win this race with Republicans, with Democrats, and independents. We're going to win this race with Pinellas County Republicans, Pinellas County Democrats, and Pinellas County Independents. You also have my pledge on this. I woke up 3 or 4 days ago and thought, if I'm entering this race, I'm going to wake up every day knowing who I am and behaving appropriately. I'm going to be myself every day of this race. And as part of doing that, this campaign is going to dispense with the partisan rancor, the partisan rhetoric, and the idea that a national party can drop into Pinellas County with a candidate of their choosing and tell us what we should think and who we should vote for. This is going to be a Pinellas County race run based on our convictions, based on this team here, and not based on pundits. The pundits in Washington, somebody shared with me earlier today, have already called us the underdog. I like that. I like being the underdog. So if the pundits are calling me the underdog, they don't realize that it's going to take an underdog to change their ways in Washington. And we're going to do that. We're going to do that for the people of Pinellas County, and we're going to do that for Washington, for America. We are in this campaign. We are going to break up politics as usual. We are not going to let the national parties come in here and run this race, not in our backyard. Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor to stand in front of you as a Bill Young Republican. I ask you to consider my qualifications. I ask you to consider my candidacy. I ask for your support. Let's go win this for Pinellas County. Thank you very much.
Win this for Pinellas County and for Bill Young.
I guess they should just had a house in Better Sounds.
Close to the airport. I live there because it was close to the airport.
Better Sounds.
Give me a call when we try to put something together. God bless you.
All right, dude. There's gonna be a compressor after this. That's right. They actually knew the guy.